would try to befriend an individual, whether that be with my real name or with an alias, and I would try to manipulate that individual into doing something that would give me access to their devices. So to this day, they never found out. They will never find out. I mean, unless somebody in that database is watching this, now you know. I have your data, and we will find you.
The dark web isn't a marketplace in the way many assume. Once connected, users need to know where to go to find specific content or services.
The dark web itself isn't a marketplace like what you're thinking. All right, so the black market, or whatever you want to call it, once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. And they're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you could download at the TOR's website.
One popular way to explore the dark web is through the Hidden Wiki, a directory that links to various dark websites categorized by their purpose.
And then you could go to a thing called like the Hidden Wiki, and the Hidden Wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with a link to them. And there's marketplaces, there's horrible things on there like for hire, there's counterfeit money, there's fake IDs, there are all kinds of different websites that do horrible things.
The Onion Router, Tor, is a powerful tool designed to anonymize your internet traffic, offering a layer of privacy even beyond a VPN's capabilities.
What is the Onion Router?
So the Onion Router is a tool, an open source project that was created to anonymize your traffic on the internet. And it decentralizes, I believe decentralized would be the word for it, your internet traffic. It keeps you anonymous beyond a VPN. I would still recommend that you use a virtual private network on top of Tor if you want to be anonymous, but it's just a layer of security that's free, and it keeps it's like, for example, let's say you use Comcast for your internet service provider. They could see that you're using Tor, but they can't see what you're looking at. If you use a VPN and then you use Tor, they can only tell you're using a VPN, but they can't tell you're using Tor. So it's just an internet within an internet.
Many websites are mirrored on both the regular internet and the dark web, expanding access to services while maintaining anonymity.
One thing, I guess the only thing on the dark web, quote unquote, I hate that word, but the dark web, quote unquote, that I had access to was when I originally hacked the website that we're going to talk about. They branched out to have not only a website on the ClearNet, on the regular internet, but their website was mirrored on the dark web. And I had 3 backdoors in their system, and it branched out over to the dark web. So I had a backdoor on the dark web too, which was kind of a cool thing to have. So I needed to be connected to Tor, the onion router, to connect to my backdoor. But that was, I was only using that backdoor to exfiltrate data every single day. So let's say you were infected with some type of malware, and that person grabs from your Chrome or your Safari all of the saved passwords and all of the sessions. Like a website, to be signed into a website, you have to have a session. So if I took that session and replaced mine with yours, now I'm mute without a password. So some of that stuff gets released on the dark web, or it's Tor. I like to call it Tor, T-O-R, the onion router. That's what the dark web is. But it gets released there, and sometimes on the publicly facing web. And a lot of people aren't aware of what information is actually out there. Because remember, each one of those plugins is by an individual creator that could have messed up at any point in their code. So you're only as strong as your strongest plugin. So that's one thing there. Shopify has their own security, and then you have your own security based on your plugins.
If you really wanted to, hack into Mossad, okay, the military intelligence, or MI6, UK military intelligence, or even our CIA, could you do it? And how deep could you go in?
So if I was, I can't say that I can or can't because I've never tried.
Ethical hackers often operate as individuals, attempting to manipulate others into granting them access to their devices or sensitive data.
But I would say the first thing that I would go for would be an individual. I would try to befriend an individual, whether that be with my real name or with an alias, and I would try to manipulate that individual into doing something that would give me access to their devices. I wasn't sure, like I said, when I got the text messages, and I wanted to try to take, my goal was to just take the site down, and I knew I could make that happen because it was on the clear net, regular internet for anyone to visit. I knew I could do that, but I didn't know if I could actually get access to their server. Once I found the vulnerability, maybe an hour, 2 hours at the most, if I could remember correctly. It wasn't long. And they never found out they were hacked. So to this day, they never found out. And they will never find out. I mean, unless somebody in that database is watching this, now you know. I have your data, and we will find you. So I actually recommend you come forward so we don't have to make the story up for you.
This looks like something I would use to charge my phone. With a charger, yeah.
And you know, that's, so I have every single charger you can imagine in here, all of them, right? So actually what this is, the reason why I have this little orange thing here is because there is no way I'd ever know that this was a charger. I'm sorry, that this was not a charger without this orange tag, because it is that perfect. So the NSA is selling these for $20,000. And I have a friend, MG, he goes by, who is selling them for, you know, a couple $100s a piece. And I have a bunch of them I can show you. But this one I preloaded with something cool that you'll appreciate. So this is a charger that will work. I could hand this to you and say, hey, here's my charger, man, or replace yours, right? Whatever you got plugged in, I'm sure I have a replacement for that. You bring this home, it could act like a charger forever, but as soon as this plugs in, inside of this tiny little plastic right here, inside of this is a Wi-Fi chip, a mini computer, and this thing emulates a keyboard and can type at 860 characters per second.
Ethical hackers are acutely aware that even the most innocent-looking hardware can be weaponized for malicious purposes.
It is so dangerous, man. It's just, I have so many gadgets with me, and we probably don't have enough time to go. I mean, I have literally 50 plus gadgets with me. So yeah, I'll show you a couple of them, but like, don't want to go too crazy. Yeah, that's a European site that you can buy it from.
Yeah, right there. It says complete wireless pen testing payload platform invisibly embed inside a cable. Originally a clandestine NSA tool costing over $20,000. Now available to everyone. $200.
Yeah, there's a name for it too. I think it was, I can't remember the exact name the NSA was calling it, but you could see the actual government document with the cost for the exactly the same thing.
So now what does this do?
So I'm going to show you what it does, but it can monitor your keystrokes. So you can put this in line in between your
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you can put this in line in between your keyboard and your computer. I could put this in straight into your phone. I could put this, I can type keys at, like I said, at 860 words per second. I can leave it there and come back later. This thing has its own Wi-Fi network that I connect to inside of this. And then if you were to, like, you can match this up to yours and see it's absolutely identical.
100% same thing.
Yeah, so if you didn't have that little orange thing on there, you'd easily lose that.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Is the one you have, is that the new design, or is that the...
I couldn't even tell you. This is just...
well, I just meant, like, is it the woven one, or is that
This is the one that's the Apple one. This is actual Apple.
Okay, so let me show you the Apple one while my computer is booting. I don't know why it's not booted up yet. I have so many of them. He gave me a ton. Yeah, here, look at this one. That is not an Apple charger.
This is the same thing as the other one?
By exploiting vulnerabilities, ethical hackers can surreptitiously monitor people's devices and observe everything they do without their knowledge.
Yeah.
And so let's just say you give this to somebody you're spying on, okay? They put it to charge. You're now seeing who I'm texting, what I'm doing, videos I'm playing, everything I'm doing, you're seeing all of it.
Not texting, because I can't, but on the computer, yes. Yeah, on the phone, I'm able to inject keystrokes into the phone. Like, let's say I want to install a virus on your Android or something. I could do that with that device, but I can't tell what you're typing. On your computer, I can tell what you're typing. So these things are wild.
$200.
Yeah, per cable, you know.
Who buys them? Who uses them?
So they're intended for penetration testers like myself to do the right thing. But you know, threat actors can buy them as well. All right, so let's get this thing.
They're intended for penetration tests that you do for companies.
Yes. Okay, so make sure everything's plugged in. We're not on any. Yeah, there's no internet here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, and you can see here that without this this orange thing I have on here just so I don't lose it with my actual charger.
Yep.
But I don't have to have that on here. I just don't wanna lose it.
One method ethical hackers might use is a fake charging cable designed to infiltrate devices and capture sensitive information.
So I'm gonna plug this into USB-C, which, you know, you can pick whatever one you want. That's plugged into USB-C. This side, I'm not gonna connect to anything. I could charge my phone with it. I could do whatever I want with it, but what I'm gonna do is on my phone, I'm gonna go to Wi-Fi. I'm gonna click OMG. Now I just created a network from this cable that's plugged in. It's
so
not
that's
plugged
not
into
we don't have an OMG network here.
No.
Okay.
No, and this is not plugged into anything.
Okay.
So this is creating a Wi-Fi network.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to it in my browser. And then I have an interface here that I can connect with. So I'm gonna go in the file menu, I'm gonna load payload 1. There we go. Now I'm gonna hit build and run, which I could be very far away from the computer. This is just showing an example of it. See how fast that's typing?
What's it doing?
It's typing PBD
Get outta
podcast and
here.
0 Day was here.
Get out of
So
here.
that could have been anything. That could have been a malicious command. That could have been a virus that it downloaded. That could have been anything that I wanted it to be. And I have now remote control over this cable that if I plug right into my phone, watch, plug it into my phone,
Charges.
charging. You would have no idea that this implant is in your house.
Just because there's a Wi-Fi in here?
And more. There's more in there. I'm just simplifying it.
So this is like a small little computer.
Yeah. Yeah, and it weighs the same, looks the same, feels the same. You would never know that thing is extremely dangerous.
And so this is used for an ethical person to do a penetration test on a company. What does an unethical hacker do with that tool right there?
An unethical hacker can use this tool to steal people's credentials, to monitor and to spy on people, to look through your webcam, to try to get access to your network, to your phone, they're going to do it for, they got the bad things. An ethical hacker is going to try to access your computer, to access other computers, to try to take over your company so that you can show where the weaknesses are so you can make it better. So it's essentially the same concepts though, but one has a good goal in mind, the other one has, screwing someone over in mind.
To protect against such threats, using a data blocker is recommended, as it limits a cable's functionality to just charging, preventing data transfer.
So the way that I would recommend protecting yourself from this would be with what's called a data blocker, right? So a data blocker is something like this. I'll show you. Okay, so there's two things here I want to show you. So you can buy a data blocker for about $5 on Amazon. You can plug any USB device into it, and it's only going to limit it to charging, so that even if it is a malicious cable, it can't be abused. This is a malicious cable detector that he also sells, that if you want to be extra overboard, you can buy, plug it into this, and it'll tell you if it's a malicious cable or not. But Screen Crab, this one's an interesting one. So the cameras aren't set up in a way for me to demonstrate it, but check this out. So you can probably, oh gosh, it's in there. Okay, so this device, if you see on one side, it has USB-C.
Yep.
Which you could do USB-C to USB-A, which is just this little square USB, and then HDMI, and then it also has a little antenna.
Okay.
Right? You don't need the antenna. It also has one other thing here for an SD card, which you can fit right here with, you can put 2 terabytes in this thing, or a terabyte, a lot of storage. Put your HDMI in, put your power in, every TV, every monitor, for the most part, is going to have a USB port. So get a small USB port, a small HDMI, put this in the back of a computer screen or the back of a computer desktop. And you could even put a little post-it note saying like HDMI enhancer or do not remove or IT only, like something that, you know, would scare somebody from unplugging it.
Advanced technology allows certain malicious devices to wirelessly transmit real-time data with minimal delay, offering high-quality visual surveillance from a distance.
And this thing can wirelessly, from quite some distance, transmit with almost no delay, in high quality, what's going on the screen. And if you're not within proximity, let's say you go out of the proximity of this antenna, it stores all of that footage on the SD card, which could be, from what I was actually told by a friend, years, depending on the interval of how often it's taking snapshots. So check behind your screens, check behind your computers, look for a device like this, which is like a man-in-the-middle type of device that is capturing your screen. And, you know, there's so much more out there to be scared of, but this is something that you could easily check. If it's there, unplug it and throw it in the trash, call the police, do whatever you got to do. There's a lot more to the story of how, you know, I came up in the hacking community and how I learned the methodologies, learned how to find vulnerabilities in things, you know, which I can go into that if you'd like.
Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, I can. I would be here 6 hours explaining all of it, but you know, if anyone remembers AOL Instant Messenger, it was called AIM. There was also something called IRC, which is an internet relay chat, which, you know, is ancient, but that's how people communicated back then online. And I was part of a lot of groups where there were a lot of hackers. All I knew them by were screen names. Mm-hmm. I didn't have their real names for the most part. You know, most of them would just go by an alias, and so would I. They didn't realize I was a little boy, and I don't know if they were little boys as well or they were, you know, grown men. I have no idea. But you know, I guess the curiosity in me, and me being one of the kids that always just say why to everything over and over and over, everything was why. I was blessed to have a group of people that were willing to mentor me and teach me the things that were so interesting. So when I saw something get hacked or I seen a vulnerability in, let's just say, AOL Instant Messenger, I would have a group of people that would be more than happy to teach me how they did that, and then I would recreate it myself. And I'd get that same adrenaline rush, which is like addictive to say the least, which then went on to more things. I mean, if you want to get into that, I will.
In one case, an ethical hacker became an administrator of a hacker community site, Digital Gangster, and used it to orchestrate large-scale affiliate marketing schemes by mailing millions of people.
I became an administrator of the website Digital Gangster, which was full of hackers and marketers, kind of a combination of both. So back then it was like the Wild West. You could send, you know, let's say acai weight loss berries. They were paying, you know, $9 per sale. They would give you a unique URL. You would send that URL out to, let's just say, 1 million people, because there wasn't a junk mailbox, there wasn't spam filters. And then you would just start randomly mailing hundreds of thousands or 1 million people and collect your commissions from these affiliate networks. So we would combine hacking methodology and affiliate marketing, and that was kind of the short version of what Digital Gangster was.
What's the most money you ever made on one of these affiliate marketing email campaigns?
Without going into the specific details of what and how, I would say 30,000 in a day.
At 12 or 13 years old?
Probably 13, yeah.
So when it's happening at 13 years old, what money is that? What account is that money going into?
So I had a PayPal account that got banned, and then my mom's.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what's mom saying the first time you see 30,000 in them? Is she like, honey, let's do it again? Or is she like, what are you doing? What are you up to?
So my mom has always been like a friend to me, but she's still my mother at the end of the day.
Of course.
You know, I love my mom. And my mom has questioned everything I've ever done, but always has my back. You know, she'll ask me 1 million questions, but she'll be very supportive. She knows that I have a good heart. She knows I would never, you know, try to hurt anybody in any type of way. So I don't think that I can't remember the conversation verbatim of how that all went. But yeah, it's she was fully aware of the marketing.
Now the people that hired you at Digital Gangster, do they know how old you are, or they don't know yet? Because at the time when they're hiring, you're not necessarily putting your age.
So Digital Gangster, you didn't have to be hired. It was a forum that anybody could join. And then you could be, like I said, you could use an alias, you could use your real name, you could use whatever you wanted. I joined there as under an alias, and then earned my way up the ranks without anyone actually knowing who I was.